I won't say this, Chad. Your daddy loved you. Loved you too, Trent. And this one right here, you're holding right
Pick
here.
up.
And little Crimson too. But when I went and seen your daddy at the hospital and I told him what you said, that you'd be there the next day, he couldn't really talk that well, but he looked at me and he said, he's been so good. And I'll tell you, he was proud of you. He loves you very much. I got a lot of memories of Uncle Frankie telling different stories to me about things that happened to a time I normally wouldn't have access to, because he grew up in the 50s and the 60s, and him and Aunt Christine and my granny, they really loved their kin people. They just had this, they loved their kin people, and they had these great stories. But Uncle Frankie, he wasn't that he was that good of a storyteller. It's the certainty that he remembered the little details with that kind of put me in place. Whether he was talking about Daddy and him and my granddaddy Clifford walking through a pasture, and there was a bull. And anybody that knows any stories about Clifford Brannon, he was scared about everything. And he was scared to death of the bull, and Daddy was provoking the bull. That should have been the story. But when Uncle Frankie told it, the story was how mad he was at Daddy for provoking the bull. You know what I mean? It was the little bitty thing right there that kind of intrigued me, or him talking about some of our kin people that died in an accident running moonshine. That's a great story. But to Uncle Frankie, the story was they all went down there to the wreck site, but Daddy couldn't go because he was just a few years too young. About Daddy throwing a fit how mad he was. That was the story to Uncle Frankie. And he had certainty with his details, and it was easy for him to put me there in the picture. I remember when I was a little boy looking at all the pictures of the hot rod cars he had, the souped up cars. And man, I was just so impressed with them cars because they were classics, but y'all were buying these new, you know, that they were buying these new at the time. I remember him telling me he went with Uncle DeWin to buy a Chevelle, I think it was. And the story should have been, he went and bought a Chevelle. But the real story was, for the same money, he could have got a convertible. And Uncle DeWin wouldn't let him. And I said, well,